Welcome to another episode of The Narrative. I hope that all of you guys are doing well. And if not, I hope that you guys are able to raise your energy levels so that you're doing well. I just wanted to come on here and sort of share a little bit of what I've been learning, lessons, experiences, focus right now. I hope you guys are able to get something out of this that can have a positive effect on your life. So, what have I been up to since the last time we spoke? Well, I got my insurance license, so now I'm an insurance agent. I help seniors with their Medicare insurance, and I also help people get life insurance. The last couple months has been me getting situated in this field. There's been a lot of learning, a lot of experiences had, and I've come to realize that this is the field that I'm going to stay in long term, more likely than not. This is my second crack at entrepreneurship here. This time I feel really, really good about it. I have the right support system, I feel, with the people I have around me. This time I know a lot more about business than I did the first time around, and I've learned a lot since my first crack at it. And the biggest thing I learned through hardships and through experiences and through the people that I've gotten to meet is how important focus is. I've gotten the opportunity to try a couple of different high leverage things where had I really put my mind into it and committed, I could have launched a lot further towards the direction that I'm building towards. Once you get to a certain level of the game that you're playing and you're in an opportunity where others see tons of success, at that point it becomes less and less about the actual opportunity and more about the commitment that you have to that opportunity. Because even if you work really, really hard for 2 to 3 to 4 months, it's likely you're not going to see the success that other people that have been doing it for a lot longer have. So now that I am in the insurance space, I know this is an opportunity that is very, very scalable. It is a vehicle that can drive me towards everything that I want to achieve. And it can do a lot more for me in the sense that it can continue to mold me into a stronger, wiser, and more capable person the longer that I level up in this space. To add on to that thought, I wanted to share a different perspective that I feel is preventing a lot of people from progressing forward. And it's the fact where if you don't see success within the first 3, 4 months, maybe even half a year, that urge to switch to a different opportunity because you feel like it'll get you results or you feel that it'll be quicker to get you more success. That thought process is unproductive because every single opportunity has its pros and its cons. What I mean by that is that you could be trying to grow your first business and you're running into all these hardships, and then someone comes along and says, hey, look at all this money I made trading, or look at all this money I made selling cars. That may seem attractive because you're seeing the success from their point of view. But what you're not seeing is all the hardships that they had to go through to get to that point and see that level of success. So of course it's going to be attractive to you. And then what happens is that you fall into this trap where boom, you switch opportunities and you go do that other thing and you find out it's a lot harder than you initially thought it would be. And now you're contemplating switching another opportunity again. Where if you just stuck to your original opportunity, you would have hopefully gotten over that hump by now and been on your way to progressing to where you originally thought. Now, there's another lesson that I learned that I want to use to add on to this point, and that's the fact that I've been thinking on too short of a time horizon. Now, what really clicked, I'm going to give you guys some context, is that my original plan in jumping into the insurance agency was learn the business model, be able to market for myself and get myself clients. That way I can restart my marketing agency and sort of have a business where I can market other insurance agents and help them get clients. And essentially other people are paying me so that I can help them get more business, right? I actually ended up DMing this one guy that has a very successful business making like $5 million a year in the space that I wanted to go in. And I ended up asking him, I'm like, hey, this is where I'm at right now. This is what I'm doing. This is my plan. And you are at a spot that I'm eventually going to get to. Would you ever be open for offering coaching? Like if I paid you, like once I get to that point, would you be willing to coach me so that I can get to your level? And essentially what he told me is, had he not gone through certain circumstances, he would have just stayed in the exact same vehicle that I'm in right now, which is the Medicare industry. And he pretty much just told me straight up, the vehicle that I'm in is a way bigger opportunity than the vehicle that he's in. And I started thinking, I'm like, wow, that wasn't the answer that I was expecting. And I started thinking what was more attractive about starting the marketing agency. And it's the fact that I could bring in more cash up front, whereas I get good at what I'm doing. I could charge people $5, $8, $10, $15,000 up front. Whereas with the Medicare game, you're playing a longer game where you really have to start a snowball effect that really compounds and is able to get you leverage over time. And then I started thinking, yeah, I'm falling into that trap on thinking on too short of a time frame. Yeah, of course, the marketing agency opportunity is going to be more attractive if I'm looking a year down the line. However, if I'm looking 5 years down the line, then the vehicle that I'm in is actually a lot more potent. It's just a better business model that is a lot more sellable and has a lot more inherent value. And that's what I learned about this guy called Justin Brock, who is doing what I'm doing right now, just on a bigger scale. And he started off where I'm at right now. And within 6 years, he was able to scale his insurance agency to a couple $1 million in revenue a year. And he was able to sell that business, half of that business, for $70 million. After 6 years of hard work. So yeah, my mind kind of clicked and I'm like, yeah, I just need to learn how to focus on this one opportunity. I need to make it work. I need to stop thinking a year down the line and start thinking 5 years down the line, and things will have a way better outlook if I think that way. So those were my 2 lessons regarding focus and time, and I hope that you guys were able to get something out of it that can improve whatever you're doing in some sort of way, shape, or form. Just cutting in this clip here. If you are enjoying this podcast and are enjoying the messages that I'm leaving you guys with, please leave some feedback in the comments. You can comment if you're on Spotify, just as if it were a YouTube video. If you're on YouTube, you can comment on that as well. And let me know if you're enjoying this and you're enjoying what I have to give out to you guys. Without further ado, continue enjoying the show. Over the last couple months, while I'm on my business journey, I've also been reading a couple different books that I feel have had a big influence on me. These books were recommended by my sales coach when I was into doing high ticket remote sales. And one is called A Happy Pocket Full of Money by David Gicandi. That book, the way my sales coach ended up recommending me this book, I remember I was in a coaching call with him and I said something along the lines of, man, I'm just so frustrated. Like, I just can't wait until I'm successful so that I don't have to deal with this anymore. Something along those lines, right? And that's when he said, dude, read this book. It'll really help you out. Thinking like that isn't healthy, right? So, long story short, I read the book and it's very profound, and I think it's life-changing even for me. One of the big things that I learned from that book is that your reality, your external world reflects everything that you are on the inside. To the extent that you believe you are wealthy, abundant, and joyful on the inside is the extent that your reality will reflect that. And it really shifted my mentality into making me a lot more conscious of the way that I think, the way that I speak, and the way that I have my beliefs structured. Whereas I'm 120% confident that I'm going to get to all my goals and dreams, and I'm going to make that happen because internally I've already done it. It may sound like woo-woo hoopla, but there is some real value to that. So that is something that does sound interesting. I highly recommend that book. Another bit of insight that I learned from that book as well is, of course, just as everyone else, I do have struggles and woes that I go through. However, because I'm learning to choose to be the most abundant version of myself internally, that is me realizing and being conscious of the fact that I actually lack nothing. I don't lack love. I don't lack abundance. I don't lack wealth. So whenever you do go through those very human moments where you might feel lonely or frustrated, I am able to kind of remind myself that I am abundant in nature and that those thoughts are illusionary. And with that thought process, the fact that I lack nothing internally, and that I'm abundant and I'm wealthy and I'm joyful, as long as I continue to be that person and I choose to be that person internally, it'll just kind of take time for my reality to catch up with the person that I am internally. And eventually my outside world will reflect the world that I have inside. And encompassing all of that, I also feel that I've been learning how to maximize the time that I have today and making today count. Focusing on how you can make the most out of the here and the now and the present time will always be the idealization of the future, or having your mind stuck in the past. Another book that I'm currently reading that also has to do with being more conscious of who you are internally and how your internal being affects a lot of your world around you. It's called Levels of Energy. It's another book recommended by my old sales coach. Shout out Gavin. But yeah, highly recommend those books. Happy Pocket Full of Money and Levels of Energy by Frederick Dodson. So far, so good. I'm like 60 pages in. So yeah, that's a little bit of an update of what I've been up to, my current outlook on life, what I'm currently doing, how I've grown, what I've learned. Another thing that I also just want to make a point to share with you guys is, just because I see it on the whiteboard that I have behind this camera, it's adding on to the whole committing to the one opportunity and making sure that you're able to make that work. I get this from Alex Ramosi, and what he says, it's commitment is the elimination of alternatives, which means that if you're committed to something, that means that you are eliminating every single other possible future that is not you walking on that path that you're committed to. Which means every single time you say yes to something that deviates you from your path, that is me internally saying that that situation is more important than my dream, that situation is more important than my goal, that situation is more important than me taking care of my family, that situation is more important than taking care of myself. And I feel like that definition of commitment puts things into perspective, whereas you really get to feel the weight of every single time you say yes to something that you know you shouldn't be entertaining. But yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for spending time with me. Also, if you guys are enjoying this, please let me know. Leave some feedback. Leave a comment on the video. If you're on Spotify, you can actually choose to comment on Spotify as if it were a YouTube video. If you're on YouTube, leave a YouTube comment, like the video. Just let me know that you're enjoying this, and it also gives me feedback that I am making a difference for you guys. But yeah, thanks for listening. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day or night.